Hello and welcome back to my Terra Invicta run. So as promised in the last episode, I decided to switch to the newest version of the game, which is not officially yet released, but it's basically a validation branch or a beta branch, depending on how you want to call it. And I want to present or go through the most important changes. So probably going to be a rather short video because there were of course a lot of localization change, small bug fixes which I never saw, but also one of the most important features or changes they made is that alien aggression got a little bit changed, so we should or hopefully see more action from the ships and fleets of the aliens. So last time we checked, we saw, for example, that there are some ships in orbit of Quaya. They have 9 assault carriers here which could move towards Earth any moment. But also they got other fleets on moons and just gas giants. So if we go into the fleet modus here, we can see that there are a lot of ships everywhere, and they are probably going to use it more aggressively now. Because I'm in brutal difficulty, this means a lot of trouble for me. Another notable change, probably, you directly saw it. Now the alien aggression bar is on the right side. We, of course, maxed it out already a long time ago. But it will represent how far you are in the aggression level, so we are maxed out. But I think I also read that it should be turning red when you hit total war, so I expect that it will change to red or even more another signifier to show that basically we are in a modus of no turning back. Now it's die or not die. Also, another small feature is the changes of prices in here. I read so far that the exotics and antimatter prices are changed or are going to be changed, so I didn't see any change here yet, but let's see. I don't know, maybe it's only influenced by the technologies or something, I don't know in detail. But most importantly, and that's probably what everyone was waiting for, let's start with the ship design. In fact, you have design here. You can now mark modules and systems as obsolete. So I could go into the non-obsolete modus here to see the ones I like and not see the whole set of everything. So basically, if we go to something like this one, power plants, we got a lot of unimportant ones which I will never use again, so these ones can be made invisible now. Therefore it's easier to design ships. And of course this mechanic is not only in ships, it's more importantly also in tech. So if we go to projects, we can finally mark projects as obsolete or even as favorites. So we could, for example, put some of the projects we definitely want to do in the next 2 or 3 years as favorites. However, I do not like that because when I go through the list, I definitely want to think about some options here. So of course I want to shorten my list, so all the obsoletes are gone now, and I can focus on the ones I'm definitely interested in. For example, I want to keep the country projects here because sometimes when I check the list, I get ideas of how I could solve problems I'm running in the run, in the run. So like what I'm feeling right now is the problems in Africa. And therefore I'm thinking about different approaches how I could do it. I could of course research the caliphate and then use that as an angle of attack, but probably I'm going to keep like this on my current path. But it's just basically I like the country projects to just see and think about what this might be possible. I only hit the ones I'm not interested in, for example certain independence movements. Yeah, breakup of Indonesia for example, but also I hit all the outdated weapons which I will never use or never research again. For example, in my case, I only went for arc lasers for the improved point defense, but I'm not going to use the lasers as a weapon besides for point defense. and instead I will focus on my ghost cannons and afterwards on the coil guns as soon as I reach them. So that's, for example, I made myself an easy list here and basically hit all the weapons I don't want. Yeah, so these are some of the very important features, and I think there was a lot of changes in regards to like spelling mistakes. There's one important feature. If you go to a project here, you now see the chance of unlocking something. So we just have to find one which is going to unlock a new project. Maybe some of the... Yeah, here we go. Alien Robotics, for example, is going to unlock these projects, and they have a chance of 61% to unlock currently. I'm not sure if that's a total chance or if it's a chance per month or year. I'm not 100% sure on that, but so from here we could, if I would do that technology, we would open up these two possibilities. It's red because we are not able to unlock it currently, but yeah. So for example, I think if you would go into the major tech tree, if you would go here, then you would see that there are technologies which this technology would unlock and so on. So it's quite useful in the end. Yeah. Also, they changed a little bit the chances of unlocking, so that you always, I think there's now a more direct chance to get engines and not be skipped out completely in your run. For example, it happened that you don't get one of the late game drives because you got unlucky, and basically you need the fusion drives to get to the aliens in the end to kill them off, depending on your faction. But that's something they addressed and solved a little bit so that the chances are higher to get everything, or rather that you have a chance to get it and not just getting blocked out of it completely. Yeah, I think that's the most stuff that is new. I didn't notice anything else which is out of the ordinary here, and basically the main core systems are still in place, so everything here is rather the same, for example, so nothing really changed here. But in my opinion, the changes to the technology, project screens and the ship buildings are massive, because it's a huge quality of life improvement, and therefore I'm a huge fan of that. Let's for once check modules of stations. So maybe there's also a change. So let's go here. No, they didn't change anything here. Okay. So yeah, that are the changes we can see in the UI so far. Let's see how the changes in the gameplay will develop in my current ongoing run. So see you in the main episodes.